Welcome back to I'm finally starting that business. If you didn't watch video 1, it is very important that you watch video 1 because it sets you up for today's video, which is stepping into who you need to be so that you can actually follow through on all the goals you say you want to accomplish. You're sitting there right now and you're like, I want to change my life and I say this every year and then I just can't get myself to do the thing I need to do to change my life. Well, yesterday we talked about why you can't get the thing to do. We understood the brain science, and today we're going to talk about how to move into the person that just naturally accomplishes all of their goals. So let's dive in. Today is all about deciding who you want to be. What you want your life to look like, yes, it gets to be a decision. You get to decide your beliefs, you get to decide the actions that you take, and no, it is not as hard as you have been taught. You don't need to meditate for 60 minutes a day. You don't need more discipline. You don't need external motivation. You need to step into the identity that fits for you and your goals and what your future life looks like. I want to preface everything by saying you are enough. You were always enough, but your new life, it will cost you your old identity. There are pieces of her that we are going to bring with us today, but there are a lot of pieces we are going to be leaving behind. And we can be thankful and we can have compassion and we can be grateful to that part of ourselves because it got us to where we are today. What is identity? Identity is who you believe you are. And your brain will always filter in or out opportunities that match that belief. That's why sometimes when you set a goal and you try to be somebody different, maybe it works for a couple days, but it doesn't stick because your brain's like, no, that's not who we are. And so today we're really going to unpack how habits rooted in identity actually stick versus those habits you've been taught in all of those self-help books. Your identity is not given to you. It is chosen. You choose who you are now and you choose who you want to be. And that might be really hard to hear, especially if you have been through traumatic experiences in your life. You might be holding on to that identity, but this happened to me and it's holding me back. Yes, I'm not saying that those things didn't happen to you. I'm saying you get to choose how you are defined by them. And if you stopped the video here and you didn't listen to the rest of it, the one thing I want you to take away from this is who you tell your brain that you are, that is who you will be. Because your brain is running the show. We can override that like we talked about with those neural response loops. We can rewire that, but your brain does run the show and it keeps you stuck in that familiarity and that repetition. So in the last video, we talked about what drains you. Today, we're going to shift into leadership mode. We're going to step into the driver's seat and we're going to take control of our life once and for all. What lights you up? A very simple question that might be very challenging to answer because you probably haven't given yourself time and space to actually think about that. You've been going through the motions of life. You've been people pleasing for others. You've been showing up and helping. You've been putting your needs last. I want you to pause the video if you need to and really think about what lights you up. What makes you happy? When was the last time you laughed so hard that your stomach hurt? When was the last time you felt joy? And for a lot of you, and be like, people don't live like that. Yeah, lots of people do actually live like that. Sometimes when I go to bed at night, I lay down in my bed and I start laughing because I'm like, oh my God, it feels so good to be in bed right now. Because that is literally how I feel. It's not like I'm faking it. It's not like I'm so grateful to go to bed. No, that's just who you start to become. And when you can notice those little things that you maybe have been neglecting, maybe you haven't been doing those things, maybe it's friends you haven't seen in a long time, what lights you up? A lot of times women put joy on the back burner, right? We put it as okay, I will reward myself with joy when the to-do list is done. Is the to-do list ever done? Have you ever completed it and just given yourself that joy? For most of us, the answer is no. Joy comes first, and you can bring joy into activities that you don't even enjoy doing. For example, there's certain types of music I like. I despise emptying the dishwasher. It drains me. So every time before I empty the dishwasher, I put myself in a state of joy first, not after. I put on some music and I start dancing. I usually put on Tina Turner, What's Love Got to Do with It? Because every time I catch myself singing to that song, and so I empty the dishwasher and I'm like, what's love got to do? And my focus is no longer on what drains me. My focus is on now what brings me joy. And you know what happens in that moment is you are rewiring your brain. In such a simple, tiny little moment, you are rewiring your brain in real time because you're teaching your brain to look for more opportunities of joy. So take some time, think about what fills you up. Now, the biggest question to get clear on, who do you need to be to reach all of your goals, right? I want to dive into habits. I want to teach you what a habit is and how, when you root habits and identity, they actually stick. And so diving into the habit section first is going to help you understand and map out like who you want to be. So what is a habit? A habit has 3 steps. There's a trigger, a behavior, and a reward. The trigger is, let's say you get home from work, and the behavior is you grab a glass of wine or a bottle of wine. The reward is you feel pretty good after, right? You're a little bit wasted. It's like, woo! That's not a healthy habit, right? But the more that you repeat that habit becomes a part of your identity. You are the woman who comes home after work, drinks a glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine, and that's how you relax. Oh, I relax after I have a glass of wine. Oh, I just like to sit on the couch and have a glass of wine to relax. You've all heard these conversations happen before. Your habits become your identity. So when you want to create new habits, healthy habits that move you towards your goals, or when you pick a goal that you want to accomplish, you also have to root it in identity. That's how we interrupt the pattern. Now, we can take the same trigger and we can take the same reward and just replace the behavior. So let's say your goal is you want to start walking for 30 minutes every day after work to just like kind of reset, decompress from the day. The trigger is you get home from work. The behavior then becomes going for a walk. The reward is the relaxing effect. Okay, here's where the shift is. Here's something that you've never been taught about habits before. Instead of saying, I want to go for a walk every day after work, that's my goal, that's going to become my habit, which is then going to become who I am. You are going to say to yourself, you're going to say it out loud and ingrain this in your brain. The kind of woman I am, she goes for a walk every day after work. When you root your habit in identity, you activate a different part of your brain. You activate the limbic system, the emotional meaning-making part of your brain, and your brain lights up and pays attention. It's like, oh, this is important to us. We need to pay attention to that. And the biggest piece, again, that we talked about yesterday is the reward. Not just the relaxing effect of going for a walk every day after work, but celebrating that you did it. Your brain, again, doesn't know the difference between winning $1 million or finding $1 on the street. It only knows what you tell it. So every day that you go for a walk, let's say your goal is 5-kilometer walks. Start with 1 kilometer and celebrate it like you did the 5 kilometers. Your brain doesn't know the difference. And you know where that motivation comes from to do it the next day is from the celebration. So again, you get home from work and your brain's like, oh, we go for walks. That's what we do after work. That is how you build your identity. It really does get to be that simple. I know hopefully a lot of you are sitting there right now like, mind blowing. I've been doing it wrong this whole time, like forcing habits and forcing discipline, and it just never fucking works that way. Now, I want to talk next about is that your beliefs and who you believe you are is who you become. So beliefs are very important. So write down the belief. And we write down all the evidence that supports it. Don't worry, you will find tons of evidence telling you why you can't, how you won't, because as we've learned, your brain moves faster from pain than it does towards pleasure. Your brain will find it so easy to tell you all the ways that you're not going to succeed. That list will get filled really fast. Here's where I want you to actually do some work. Find the opposite. Where one thing is true, the opposite can always be true. And maybe it isn't your own evidence. Maybe it's somebody else's evidence. If your goal is you're here to start an online business, you've never done it before. So how can there possibly be evidence that you won't be successful? How is that possible? Like, how is that real evidence? Maybe there is evidence. You tried and you did not succeed the first time. There will be evidence of how you were able to start the first steps. Maybe you did help 1 or 2 people and your expectation of success was layered in another person's version of success. Do you guys see how this all wraps around with identity? It's just so crucial that everything we do is rooted in who we want to be and who we want to become. So whatever the belief is, write it at the top of a page, pause the video, and write down the evidence that supports that belief and the evidence that supports the opposite. Start focusing your attention really hard on the evidence that supports that you will be successful with that goal. This is where you can start building a new identity based on who you think you are. You're going to start challenging the evidence. You're going to start looking at your past and being like, ooh, that evidence isn't even mine to carry. I want to give you a really good example from one of my students. She was talking about her fear of entering into a relationship. She's a single mom right now and like co-parenting with somebody else. And she's like, well, what I've learned is like blended families just don't work, right? That was her belief. And I was like, oh, like where was the evidence? Like, where did you learn that from? And she's like, well, my sister has a blended family and there's a lot of conflict within it. And, you know, I've seen other people with blended families and it just doesn't work, right? That's where the evidence came from. When you start breaking this down, you're going to be like, oh, I don't actually have evidence to support that belief. I don't have my own evidence to support that belief. And build your own evidence. You cannot say that this isn't going to work for you if you've never tried. And so it's just really important to reflect on where that comes from and then asking her like further probing into the questions like, well, do you resonate with your sister? Are you guys a lot alike? And she's like, no, we're totally opposite people. And I was like, well, then it would make sense that the opposite evidence would come true from that situation because you're completely different human beings. And you don't even like resonate and relate to that person. So why would you hold their evidence as something that's actually applicable to your life? Just get deep with this. There's a lot of unlayering we're still doing today, but we are just going to keep moving forward in the direction of where we want to be. The next stage to this is tapping into what I call your inner authority. It's this kind of sense of knowing what to do. And like, even when you don't know how it's going to work out and it's taking the action anyways. Inner authority is going to help you take action when you feel like you're stuck in that freeze mode. Because remember, your body is communicating with your brain. That's what's keeping you stuck. So change your state, change the belief your brain has about this situation. If I'm really scared, I remember sending this email recently because I wanted to be a speaker at this event and it was like super last minute. And I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I just got myself so hyped up. Like literally was like punching, boxing, like whatever I could do. I'm like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Like acting like a crazy person in my basement. And then I sat down and I typed the email and then like didn't send. I couldn't hit send. So again, I hyped myself up, did some dances around the kitchen, came back and just like hit that fucking send button. And you know what? It opened up a world of opportunities. You change your state to make the move. Don't let yourself sit there and be stuck in that position. Get up, move around, walk away, come back, readdress it from a different state and ask yourself better questions. The easiest way to tap into your inner authority is really asking yourself better questions, activating your prefrontal cortex and asking yourself questions like, what would I do right now if I wasn't scared of judgment? What would I choose to do if I had all the answers? If I had all figured out, if I knew it was going to work out, I knew everything I was supposed to do, I had all the strategy, I had all the right mentors, I had all the coaches, what would I do? This is really important in uncovering who you are and how you are going to help. Because when you can get honest without the layers, without all the filters, without all the social norms that we've been taught that we have to operate from, without all the permission you think that you need, you are going to show up and have that purpose immediately. Now we're gonna move into the funnest part of this video where we are gonna get fucking delusional. Please just get fucking delusional with me. Trust me, it's gonna be so much fun. I want you to write down your most delusional goals, okay? The goals that you're like, there is no way this is possible for like any human being, let alone me, but like just go with it. Write down your most delusional goals. As you're writing these goals down, I want you to pause the video and take some time to sit, just close your eyes and visualize yourself reaching all these goals. The woman that's accomplished all of these crazy fucking delusional things, what does she do in the morning? How does she get up? How does she start her day? Is she like going for a run? Is she sitting and having coffee and journaling? Is she like cruising out on a boat? Like, what does she do? How does she show up in her relationships? How does she show up parenting? Is she calm? Is she connected? How do people view her? How is she walking through the room? This visualization is building who you want to be. Goals aside, you visualize who you want to be and you decide to start showing up as that person, the world will match it. Your brain will match it. Your reticular activating system specifically will filter in opportunities that match that person's reality. This isn't woo-woo. This isn't like your typical manifestation, although it falls on a very close line. This is brain science. This is how you rewire your brain to step into the life that you desire. And then start showing up as that person, even in the smallest ways possible. Even just one tiny little change that you make throughout your day. Maybe in the mornings, instead of grabbing your coffee first, you have a little stretch and you grab your water and you write a little note in your journal. And the biggest piece, again, to keeping this consistent and becoming her is celebration. You need to activate the reward system of your brain to actually follow through. These are called little micro actions to becoming her. You take these little micro moments of being the person that you visualize being that's accomplished all of your most delusional goals, and you celebrate that you're doing that for yourself. And then your brain will automatically, because your brain loves running on autopilot to conserve energy, will automatically start repeating those behaviors and those patterns. It does get to be this easy, you guys. Sit with that. I want you to feel it. I feel like I can feel it with you. Just really believing like everything is possible and you get to become the best version of yourself. You get to become the person that you were destined to be. And for the next video, get ready to show up and move from that person, because we are going to dive into doing the steps for starting our business. You're going to be pausing the video a lot. So you're going to be taking action behind the scenes, and you are going to have your business set up, and you're going to be mapping it out and building your first product so that you can start earning income online. Oh, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. As always, I have an unwavering belief in your potential, and I wish you nothing but success.